So very good news, splendid news. The Houthis, the Yemenis, have secured a deal with the Russians and the Chinese. And this is a very, very, very interesting arrangement. So, as you know, what's happening right now in the Red Sea, this blockade that has been implemented and instituted by the Yemenis, it only affects, well, it used to only affect Israeli ships, but then, of course, we and the Americans went and bombed Yemen, and now British and American ships are also, banned from crossing the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mendeb Strait. So what does that mean for everybody else? If you're a Chinese ship, a Russian ship, I mean, you could pass, uninhibited, unaffected. And just to be very clear, there are a lot of news outlets who are liars, who are dishonest, who are disingenuous. They'll tell you about the Red Sea, and they'll say, well, the Yemenis are not even firing at Israeli ships. They're firing at ships that have nothing to do with Israel, because this ship has a flag, it's a Greek flagged ship or a Mauritanian flagged ship. Or yeah, but what difference does that make? The Israelis bring in goods on ships with different flags. So, I mean, this is a nonsensical argument. This is like saying, well, the number plate color is different. I mean, it's completely stupid. And they're trying to lie to you. Yemen have made an arrangement now with the Chinese and Russians, basically to allow Chinese ships to pass the Bab el-Mendeb Strait. Russian ship can also pass the Bab el-Mendeb Strait. No problems. And what does Yemen get in return? Well, Yemen get political support, full political support from the Chinese and the Russians. And again, when we look at China and Russia, I mean, the hard and soft power that they possess. We are talking about two behemoths, two titans, two colossal, Arnold Schwarzeneggers on the international stage. That's who we're talking about. Russia and China are the future. We're just catching up. We just don't know it yet. We just don't know, but they're the future. So, not to forget also that the Chinese and the Russians have permanent seats on the United Nations Security Council when the United Nations was founded. And I disagree with that. I don't think anyone should have permanent veto power or permanent seats. But nevertheless, they have it as the victors of World War II. There are five. So Russia, China, the United States, the United Kingdom, and France. I don't know what France is doing there, but anyway. So that helps Yemen a lot, because if the Americans and the Israelis behind them try to pass any type of resolution against Yemen at the Security Council, Russia and China can just go, no, veto. You just need one veto, and it will be blocked. Russia and China offered this very protection to Syria during the war against Syria in the last 10 years. They tell you it's a civil war. It's not. You have 50, 100 different groups and countries attacking a country. That's not a civil war. I'm sorry. So it's very potent. It's very good. Why do you think Israel, for example, why do you think the Israelis are so obsessed with having America as an ally, with having the British government as an ally? Because they need protection at the United Nations. They need that veto power. I always make the joke that Israel has 3 seats at the United Nations Security Council: France, the United States, and the United Kingdom. So let me just read this to you very, very quickly it's basically what I just told you now. But I love how they open here. They say the Yemeni Ansar Allah movement's relations with Russia, China, and the Brics countries. The Brics countries, right? So Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and of course we had Iran joining along with Saudi Arabia and Egypt and other players in August. I was accredited to cover it, and if you're interested in hearing the coverage, and it's on the channel, just type in Brics in the search, Brics Richard Medhurst. So the Yemeni Ansar Allah movement's relations with Russia, China, and the Brics countries are improving with the aim of ending U.S. global hegemony. Member of Ansar Allah's political bureau, Ali Al-Quham, posted on X. He said, there is continuous building and development in relations between Yemen, Russia, China, the Brics countries, exchanging experiences and expertise in various fields. Again, my job is to translate politician to English. So what that means is they're giving us a lot of help. Could be intelligence, could be weapons. Who the hell knows? I mean, you remember that Iran already geared up the Yemenis quite well, right? But it's always nice, of course, to have the Russians and the Chinese on your side. Every single day, we have politicians come and try to tell us why it's so good for Britain and Germany and America to give Israel weapons, and why Ukraine should be given weapons and billions of dollars. So, okay, why is it not okay for China and Russia to give Yemen weapons? Who the hell are we to say that's not allowed? I mean, we have no right. We have no moral ground or any. I mean, it's ridiculous to even think the thought. Nevertheless, quote, this serves a common interest to let America, Britain, and the West sink in the quagmire of the Red Sea and the high seas, so that their unilateral polarity sinks, fades, and weakens. This is not just an analysis, but a stark reality. And he pointed to the Yemeni armed forces' quintessential role in supporting the Palestinian resistance in the Gaza Strip, which has firmly established a new equation in the Red Sea. Absolutely. Now, I have to say two things here, because when he talks about letting, Britain and America sink, he's not saying, yeah, we want to fire, a 50, a volley of 50 nuclear weapons and have England sink, like as a receding island. No, he means figuratively, of course, because again, this is a region we have no business being in. I have to show you as a map, as always, to make this extra clear. This is England, okay, over here, and that is Yemen. What business do British ships have coming to the Red Sea? And for what? To defend this piece of shit called Israel? I'm sorry, you're out of your mind. No. And even more ridiculous, the Americans, what are you doing in the Red Sea? Okay, well, if it's going to be that way, then there's nothing wrong, obviously, with Russia coming and helping the Yemenis or the Chinese. But even then, you don't see them imposing themselves or posturing in the same manner. They posture a bit, but not to the same extent. Not to, the Americans, the first thing they did is they came and murdered 10 Yemeni Marines. Yemen, they haven't killed anyone until last week, where 3 people unfortunately died, but they try their best to avoid civilian casualties. There's a big difference in how the resistance conduct military and political campaigns and how we do that in the West. And it's a bit weird for people like, where you don't murder people, you don't just blow them away. Yeah, they don't. That's how, they're different in how they conduct things. And I want to make it clear also that this is going to permit the resistance in general to become stronger for the future, because China is blowing the Americans away. It's the first economy. Their sectors in tech have got the Americans screaming, oh my God, let's ban TikTok. They have surpassed the Americans. The Americans don't even know it yet. They don't even know it. I mean, the West, we can't even grasp it. So that having China as an ally, I mean, again, it's self-explanatory. Having the Russians, a military heavyweight, is another extremely important thing. Yemen, you have to remember that Yemen has been bombed by Britain, by America, has been starved. It needs strong allies on the international stage to protect it. And this is the first time in a long time that the Yemenis are able, not to just protect themselves really, but even to stand up and say, we are fighting for Gaza. I mean, think of how honorable that is. It really is an honorable, admirable, respectable thing for the Yemenis, who are reeling, who haven't even begun to recover from the onslaught, from the attacks of the West, to say, you know what, despite our problems, we're going to help the Palestinians all the way over there. Every week, you see literally millions of Yemenis pouring out onto the streets. The Yemenis are lovely people, truly admirable. I really adore them. It takes a lot to basically say, I'm going to take care of you before I even take care of myself. The weapons that Yemen have now, okay, this is another important thing that you should understand. Look what they permit Yemen to do. We're now striking the Indian Ocean, right? I told you about that the other day. I mean, man, it's so funny. It's like, you think you're smart. Oh, you're just going to go around Africa. No way. We're going to come and get you. You are not going to turn a profit. You will not conduct your business as usual while you slaughter people in Gaza. It's not happening. That's the attitude that Yemen have. More, just to add more to that, look what happened yesterday. Yemen pulled off a double triangle, right? So you know what that refers to. They struck the Israeli port, I say Israeli in quotation marks, of Eilat, which is 1,600 kilometers away. Again, on the map, just to show you how remarkable this is from a strategic, from a military, from a technical, from a political standpoint. It really is an achievement, you know. Yemen is all the way over here. Let's go all the way to the edge, measure, and come here over to Eilat, which is called Reshresh. I think that was the original name before the Israelis changed it. Yeah, look, almost 1,600 kilometers. I mean, this is not something that you just randomly do. This is very precise, pinpoint accuracy. The Yemenis have been trained, equipped, and brought up to an excellent standard for a military outfit. And I should remind you that the West was saying, yeah, we're going to form a coalition and we're going to go in and bomb them and yeah, okay, and what did that achieve? The blockade is still there. We just made ourselves look like assholes on the world stage. Great. And what are you doing? You're bombing Yemen on top of it to defend Israel? I mean, I can't believe this, really. Why do politicians in England love making England look like crap in front of the world? Why do they love doing this? It's truly remarkable in a bad way. So in any case, the Yemenis also struck an American ship called Mado. Okay, so again, the name is really irrelevant. It's another commercial ship. They all have weird names. And they struck another, they also bowled another strike, no pun intended. This is from Yemen Houthis. He said, the American and British failure is clear in their inability to protect ships belonging to the Israeli enemy. So basically saying, they can't do anything militarily. But look here, Al-Houthi said the Yemeni forces have used a new missile that surprised the Israeli enemy and managed to reach Eilat al-Rasharash. So this is the exact same attack that I'm talking about. And it bypassed all the US and Israeli surveillance and interception systems. That's very important because the Saudis have been helping the Americans to shoot things down. The French, the Germans have all come to save the poor Israelis, and they can't do anything. The technology has surpassed their abilities. Also here, he says that the Yemeni forces have conducted 18 operations using ballistic cruise missiles and drones this week alone. Okay, that is really wild. Okay, so to see politics shift so drastically, it's really something to behold. The Yemenis, they've hit as if you've watched the video, they hit 2 Israeli ships and 3 American ships, and the American ships that they're firing at are sometimes commercial, sometimes military. And as I said before, and I'll repeat this, there is no one on earth who dares to fire at an American ship except the Yemenis. And the Americans can't do a thing about it. So you see how the era of so-called Western dominance is coming to an end. And perhaps, actually not just perhaps, but most certainly, to the betterment of the planet. And you can't say that American imperialism or British imperialism is a good thing. It's an absolutely terrible waste of resources, not to mention it murders and invades, it murders tons of people and invades their countries. I mean, this system needs to go anyway. There's no future for people in Britain and America like this. There's no future for the world if we continue down this path. So in any case, this is a huge development to have Russian and Chinese support. Bravo to the Yemenis. Well done, because they have not just brought themselves up to a fine military standard, but this is diplomacy at its best. Simply, to get Russia and China to back you, you have to have skilled statesmen and diplomats to do that. This is not just an easy thing, to impress them and to have their full political support. And remember, the Chinese and Russian ships were never threatened anyway, so it's not like they had to make the deal. So this shows a lot of goodwill on the part of the Russians and the Chinese to say, you know what, we got your back, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. And the Americans and Israelis, I can assure you, are fuming right now. They got smoke coming out of their ears.